Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports and the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Paulo Del Rosario. In tonight's game plan, Gilas Pilipinas is back in action tonight facing Indonesia in the final window of the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers. And we also go inside the game of Gilas standout Carl Tamayo, who reveals how he almost did not join the national program. Fear the Deer. The Milwaukee Bucks force a do-or-die Game 7 against the Brooklyn Nets, whose legacy is in more danger in the series, KD or Giannis. And we'll check in with some of our Philippine beach volleyball stars live from Thailand as they share their AVC Continental Cup semis experience. Mga kababayan, Gilas Pilipinas is on the floor tonight playing for the country in the third and final window of the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers. Gilas now faces Indonesia before wrapping up with a rematch against South Korea in the final game of the third window that's happening on Sunday. Now, we all know that the game is still ongoing. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you're shifting between this and the game itself. And just a quick update, if you are here at the moment, 40-31 is the score. The Philippines starting to pull away from Indonesia in the third quarter. Unfortunately, though, only outscoring them by 1. Indonesia really giving a tough fight here so far. Now, to help me discuss all of this, we have one of our special co-hosts here, Dario. How are you doing?
Hey, Pao. Thanks for having me here.
This first half in particular, very difficult for Gilas Pilipinas to find any rhythm. Nag-usap nga tayo before the show that maybe Coach Raiko Toraman has done his job scouting and has formed a great defensive plan so far against Gilas.
Well, knowing Raiko Toraman, he's really a defensive-minded coach, good at scouting. So for sure, Gilas will have to make adjustments for them to, pull off a better win. Because now it's a close game, surprisingly, against that tough Indonesia team.
I like how you said surprisingly, kasi tumaas yung expectations natin after that South Korea win, no?
Yes, of course. Of course, Korea is a tough team to beat. We had not so much of a great start, but we had a great game, especially coming back from that margin. But of course, with going up against Indonesia, you got to be sure that you're kind of going to get this win.
Yeah.
Easy win. But, we have young guys, they're going to develop, and they have a lot of things to learn from.
Now, looking at some of the top performers in this contest so far, Justin Baltazar, first to double digits for the Philippines with 11 points already, 4 rebounds as well, and has played the most with 17 minutes. And of course, Ange Kuame with 7 as well. Amongst the guys that we've seen so far, I'll speak for all the fans out there. They all want to see what SJ Belangel could do after that last game. But who in particular were you most interested to see going into this one?
Well, of course, we all know Javi Gomez Daliano didn't play last game. So honestly, personally, I wanted him to, show out this game as a former teammate. But I think, he's still trying to feel it out. It's a feel-out game for him. Of course, it's his first game after not playing. But it's going to be Javi. Also, Jordan Heading, he played a lot of experience overseas, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, of course, the other players that could feature here today that did debut, Gio Chu already with 2 points, albeit with only 1 minute, that one coming from a dime from Kai Soto. And of course, still a close game relatively considering what this could be. The score is now 44-31. Philippines starting to pull away here. And alam naman natin, as a UAAP fans, as a Lasallian and someone from UP, we all know very well, too much, what Tab Baldwin could do in the third quarter.
Yeah, of course. Just like in the UAAP, like Ateneo, they have third quarter runs. Basically because Coach Tab is so good at adjusting, reading the defense and also reading the offense. So he probably made a lot of adjustments now. We are up 13. So I think that's a good sign for Gilas Pilipinas.
That's very quick maths of you, and I'm happy that you had to do. I was just reading out the scores in particular. So one of the guys that we were looking out for was Carl Tamayo. Carl Tamayo showed out the last game, struggling a bit here now, 0-5 so far in this game as it's still ongoing. But then, what about Carl Tamayo's game? Do you think that Filipino fans would really enjoy? Some people are calling him the next RDO. I don't know about that yet. But then, what's your take?
I think it's tough to compare him to RDO after just one game, right? But I think Carl Tamayo has so much upside, standing at 6'7", 6'8". He has the post moves, he can play from the outside, he can guard actually wingmen, and I think that's a good sign. I hope he develops more under Coach Tab and also for the UP Fighting Maroons.
Yeah, you know what, you can be selfish there. But speaking of standouts, did you know that before his impressive performance in Gilas Pilipinas' first game against South Korea, Carl Tamayo almost did not join the national team.
Wow.
Our correspondent, Carlo Pamintuan, was able to speak with the UP Fighting Maroon big man back in their training bubble in Laguna in this edition of Inside the Game.
Philippine basketball fans have always been enamored with tall and talented players. This is why, even though he is one of the younger members of the Gilas Pilipinas pool, Carl Tamayo is expected to be an important member of the team for years to come. Back in 2018, the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas named their 23 for 2023, a list of young players who could potentially be part of the Gilas Pilipinas men's squad for the FIBA Basketball World Cup.
Nag-message sa akin si Coach Sandy, pero hindi ko talaga na-expect na isa ako. Pero before no, nung alam kong konti lang yung mga PBA player, pinaghandaan ko baka sakaling makatawag ako, and then suddenly hindi ako na kuha ng tawag. So yun, umuwi ako ng province, and then the next bubble, yun na, tinawagan niya Coach Sandy na ini-invite ako for bubble.
As Tamayo was a part of it, he knew that he'll get the opportunity to compete for a spot at some point in the future. This chance, however, came sooner than he expected. After an initial hesitation, it was an old mentor that acted as the voice of reason to make Tamayo realize that this was an opportunity that he could not pass up on.
Actually, noong una nagdadalawang isip ako kasi I'm with my family. It's almost 1 year ako nalayo sa kanila, and then nauwi ako mga wala pang 1 month. So I want to spend time with them. And then si Coach Gold, kinausap niya ako. It's a big opportunity to me to learn. Andyan lang naman yung family ko, kahit after bubble, pwede naman ako makauwi. So yun, dun din pumasa na malaking opportunity din sa akin to learn from Coach Tab, international ball. So marami akong nal-learn. So malaking opportunity sa akin. Kaya sumama na rin ako sa bubble.
The biggest advantage in joining this training camp is for Tamayo to feel what it's like to play as a full-time small forward. While he's had to be a center or a power forward all his life because of his size, he knows learning how to play at the 3 spot could really set him apart.
Dito, nagpe-play din akong 3 at di ako nagpa-5, 3, 4 lang. And yun, marami ang na-learn sa paano mag-execute ng 3, paano mo basahin yung court, paano mo basahin decision making. Yun yung mga natutunan ko dito. Aside kasi big man ako and then, pero actually before nag-train ako mag-3, ball handling, shooting, and then dito na-apply ko. And malaking opportunity sa akin kasi malalaki kalaban ko dito. Different sa high school kasi sa high school, so mauwi talaga ako big man kasi malilit lang yung mga makakalaban.
Another big positive in his presence here at the Gilas Pilipinas training bubble is being around teachers and leaders who want nothing else but to help Tamayo develop as much as he could in a short amount of time.
Sobrang thankful ako kasi ngayon, pandemic sa situation natin ngayon, ang hirap pumanap ng training na tulad na ganito. Actually, makaka-training ka, shooting. Sobrang hirap maka-training ng system play like Coach Tab, the way he teach us. So, sobrang blessed ko. I'm grateful to be invited here. So, yun lang. Learn ko lang lahat ng mga pwede kong learn at upcoming UAP games. Sana ma-apply ko rin.
From Calamba, Laguna, Carlo Pamintuan for One Sports Plus.
That was Carlo Pamintuan with Carl Tamayo. Now, a quick update on what's happening in the game so far. Between the Gilas Pilipinas and Indonesia, 48-34 right now in favor of Gilas Pilipinas. We were talking about that third quarter run. Well, there you go, 18-12 in favor of Gilas here in the third quarter. Now, after this, we'll talk a bit more about the NBA, but we will give you more updates on Gilas against Indonesia. Now, when we return, the Milwaukee Bucks force a do-or-die Game 7 against the Brooklyn Nets, whose legacy is in more danger in the series. KD or Giannis? Well, keep it here. You're watching the game. Welcome back to the game. I'm Paulo Del Rosario. Now, before we continue, a quick update on what's happening in the Philippines and Indonesia. 50-35 is the score with under 40 seconds left to play. And for those wondering, yes, nakalaro na si Lebron sa Gilas Pilipinas. Si Lebron Lopez. Yan, nakalaro na. In fact, he's now on the court and will close out this third quarter for Gilas Pilipinas. Now, back to the show. NBA fans, this is what we've all been waiting for. In the words of the great Zaza Pachulia, we're going to Game 7, baby! Game 7! Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday combined for 89 of the Bucks' 104 points to force Game 7 against Kevin Durant, James Harden, and the Nets. It's winner go home in Brooklyn, New York, this coming Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Manila time. Spirit of Game 7, our very own Scholar ng Bayan, my co-host Diego Dario, has prepared for his special thesis defense on the game. Yes, we really prepared for that, and because of that, I'm a professor today, so let's go. Let's do this. This will be very simple. I will ask Diego some NBA questions, and he will give us his hot takes that he shall defend accordingly. Mr. Dario.
Ooh.
So.
I feel like I'm in college
Oh,
again,
no,
Sir
no,
Paul.
yeah. I mean, I'm taking you to school.
Oh, all right.
I'm taking you to school. But before any of the hard questions, your thoughts on how the state of the playoffs are going? Do you have any favorites, your personal favorites so
Well,
far?
all right, Sir Paul, that was a wonderful question from you. Right now, I don't like how a lot of people are getting injured.
Yeah.
So this is not one of my favorite playoffs, but I'm going for, Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking about that, whose legacy, as we tease throughout the entire show, is more in danger in Game 7?
Ooh.
KD or Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Sir, as we talked about earlier, I would agree with you that KD is in more danger right here because it's his perfect time to show up. Now that, two of his all-stars are injured, James Harden is not 100% healthy, so I think it's time for him to step up and really show the fans that he can win a championship without all-stars.
But you look at Giannis, sorry, I have to really go through your answer. You look at Giannis, a lot of people are saying that, he doesn't deliver in the playoffs. Regular season team lang yung Bucks. Why doesn't it matter for him as much as KD?
Well, I think because if he wins the series, he has two top caliber players with him, and the other team is injured. So I think, if he wins this, it would be normal because he has three all-stars with him.
It would be normal. Interesting, Mr. Dario. Okay. Okay, so more on KD. So you think his legacy is really at risk here. Who should defend him? Should it be PJ Tucker, who really enjoys competing with him, or the defensive player of the year, or the multiple-time defensive player? He is a defensive player of the year in Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Sir Pao, that's another tough question, but honestly, I would go for PJ Tucker.
Okay.
Because if Giannis Antetokounmpo guards KD on the perimeter, his shot blocking ability would be cancelled because he's gonna have to go with KD up there. Now, when he drives, who's gonna help? Brook Lopez, KD can finish over Brook Lopez any day.
Oh, so I'm looking through your notes here. Mali yating citation mo. Sige, but I'll let that slide first. And for the Nets, though, right now, alam naman natin that there's a bit of injury bug going around in the sense that they're missing their stars. Para sa'yo, based on what we've seen so far, who's more important, KYRIE or James Harden?
Well, Sir Pao, I think KYRIE is more important for me than James Harden. James Harden,
Okay.
we know he's not going to be 100%. Now, if KYRIE plays, even if he's not 100%, I think that's going to be the game changer for this series.
KYRIE more important than Harden. Okay.
How do you feel
Okay,
about that?
you know what? It's not important how I feel. It's important as well how you feel.
I hope I get an uno with this.
No, but ako nga pero sa Lasal kasi uno sa low score. So we'll see. Let's take a look at this. This was submitted also. An apology form that went around over on social media. This one is saying, sorry to Chris Middleton and sorry to Paul George. This one coming from Serge Ibaka. Now, looking at these apology forms, let's go through Chris Middleton first. Why should people apologize to him?
Well, I think because he scored 38 a while
Okay.
ago. So he was the top scorer. I think you guys should give more respect to Chris Middleton. He was a former All-Star.
Yeah. And Paul George?
Paul George, it was a legacy game for him the last game. No Kawhi, but he still stepped up aggressive and got the W for the Clippers.
Game on the line, down by 1.
Okay.
Okay? This is situational. Game on the line, down by 1. Game-tying free throw needed. You have 2 players to choose from. Okay? Let's say iba yung rules dito.
Alright.
And iba rin yung teams. Kasi ito yung pipilian mo. Giannis Antetokounmpo
Ay.
or Ben Simmons.
Pwede ba ako na lang? I think I would.
Mag-NBA ka muna.
Sheesh, I'll go for Giannis.
Bakit si Giannis?
Ben Simmons is shooting around 30% this playoff. So I think Giannis is a little bit better at the moment.
Yeah. And what's your thoughts on the Haka-Ben strategy?
Ooh, that's smart. Honestly, that's smart. Why would you discourage that? He's not making his free throws, so it's up to the Sixers if he's gonna play in the end game or not.
So this is really this last question here, or at least one of the last questions here, is going to determine whether or not kung pasado ka or hindi. And it
Lord,
really
please.
is. Ito, ganito yan. Fate of the universe on the line, where the Martians have a death beam pointed at planet Earth.
Wow.
You have to win a championship.
All right.
Which guy will you choose to lead your team to the championship? Joel Embiid, TRAE Young.
Ooh, I think that's not in my course. Sir.
No,
That's
it's not.
part
It's
of my
not.
course.
But then we expect you to be holistic, well-rounded as students. So yeah.
I think, sir, I would go for Joel Embiid. It's not every day that you see, a 7-footer who can move like that, who can shoot from the outside, and have moves like in perimeter.
Pero hindi ba concern yung health niya? I mean, this is not the first time he's broken down physically. And now playing through a torn left meniscus in his knee, and that has been an issue throughout his entire career. Not that injury in particular, but staying healthy.
Well, if it's the fate of the earth that's on the line, I think it's up to the universe. He's gonna make Joel Embiid injured, sir.
Okay, so very last bonus question. I'm giving you literally 1 or 2 words to answer this. On a scale of 1 to SJ Belangel, how much do you trust the Jazz winning the championship this year?
Woo! Since I'm talking to you, sir, and I want to pass this, I'm very confident that the Utah Jazz
Okay,
will
so
make
sa
it to the
UP,
finals.
1 is good, right? So
Yes.
nauuna ka dito. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Mr.
Sir
Dario,
Pao.
for passing your thesis defense.
Yes!
Okay, in general, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed grilling him for sure. And just a quick update on what's happening in the state of the Gilas Pilipinas versus Indonesia. Gilas now up big going into the fourth quarter, 59-38 over Indonesia. Thank you very much for joining us after the break. We'll say Sawadee Cup to the Philippine Beach Volleyball stars, SISI Rondina and and live from Thailand. Stay tuned. You're watching the game. Welcome back to the game. I'm Pablo De Rosario, still joined here by Diego Dario. And a quick update on what's happening in the front of Gilas Pilipinas versus Indonesia. 20-point lead now for the Philippines, 61-41 with around 5 or 6 minutes left to play in this ball game. So, based on what we've seen so far, at least we only got to really watch that first half well because we were doing the show. But based on the improvement that they have shown so far, we're looking at Carl Tamayo scoreless in that first half with 6 points already. And Kai Soto a bit slow here. If you're a Kai Soto fan, should you be concerned that you're having a bit of a difficult time here against this Indonesian team?
Well, I don't think you should have a hard time that Kai Soto is not playing well, because you're playing with Coach Tab's system. Coach Tab's system, you really don't know who's going to step up, who's going to score, because they look to find the best shot. And also, he's 19. He's one of the youngest players in the team, so a lot of development for Kai.
All right, absolutely. And we're going to have more on Gilas Pilipinas later on in the show. But for now, Philippine Beach Volleyball made a splash in Thailand at the Asian Volleyball Confederation Beach Volleyball Continental Cup semis as our teams push towards fulfilling their dreams. It was a nerve-wracking golden match for Team Philippines against New Zealand. With great efforts, the Pinay Spikers still continue to achieve their dreams of gold. On the men's side, the Pinoy Beach Spikers also clinched a country win over Lebanon via golden match. Laban Pilipinas remains to be their mantra as they showed a valiant effort against the Titans of Australia. Tonight, our beach volleyball stars, Sisi Rondina and Jaron Rectonton, join us live from Thailand. Sisi, Jaron, Sawadee Cup. There, I think I said it right. Congratulations for being a Sawadee Cup. Okay, all right. Just want to make sure I'm doing that right, okay? Kasi...
Tig naman po kami.
Sorry? Sisi, you there?
Rinig naman po kami.
Oo, rinig. May konting delay lang yata, but that's okay. Sisi, unang-una, this has been a momentous occasion for beach volleyball kasi at least alam nyo na kung anong kailangan nyong gawin to be able to compete at the highest level of Asian volleyball and progress. Sa palagay mo, is there a big gap between what you need to do as a team to reach yung mga level sa mga nakalaban nyo? Right, so we're gonna try and get Sisi and Jaron back in just a bit. But again, Diego, when we were talking a bit about it off the air, this volleyball team trying to make their Olympic dreams come true fell short this time around. Then we can understand na medyo mahirap yung connection ngayon kasi nasa Thailand sila, and I'm not quite sure of how the connections would work out. In fact, kakalaro lang nila. But it does matter competing at the highest level in any sport and trying to figure out ano yung gap nyo between where you are and where you want to be?
Well, of course, I'm sure as an athlete, you really have to check how your level is compared to your competition. So if you guys win here locally, next is internationally, you just have to keep on getting to the next level to get that kind of competition.
We're gonna try talking to Sisi and Jaron again. Sisi, Jaron, nandyan ba kayo?
Hello po, rinig naman po kami.
Yes, I
Idol.
can hear you. I can hear you, Idol. Sisi, kamusta naman kayo dyan?
Ito po,
Alam mo, Sisi, we can't see you, but then we can hear your smile. Napaka-infectious yan eh. Sisi, yung team nyo again fell short in this particular event. Pero gaano kalaki na you got to compete against yung mga international teams from all over, trying to figure out gaano kalayo before you can compete consistently sa level nila. All right, so we're having difficult time reaching Sisi and Jaron, but again, congratulations to both of them for being able to represent the country the best way that they could. And unfortunately, unable to get that, but I'm sure we're gonna have them on the show very, very soon. Quick update on what's happening on Gilas Pilipinas against Indonesia right now. 5 minutes left. Oh no, rather I have to refresh my feed because kahit tayo nahihirapan sa feed dito eh. But then 66-43. Either way, the Philippines still with a sizable advantage over Indonesia. And I think this is what we expected more, isn't it?
Yes, of course, we expected Coach Tab to do his adjustments, and we also expected the young guys to, adjust to get over, the Korean game and now focus on this Indonesia game.
Absolutely. So again, congratulations to our athletes abroad and those here trying to make us proud. I'm Paulo Rosario. He's Dario. This has been The Game.